Hello, this is Michael Proctor, and I'll be reviewing today the book, Chapter 2 of The Psychology of Money. Um, Last time we did Chapter 1, and it was very compelling, and I correlated Chapter 1 with a little bit of my life and how we think and deal about money. Chapter 2 deals about luck and risk. Luck, Luck, and risk that's written up there in the corner on the screen. Now, I was reading chapter 2 and I found chapter 2 to be for me, very confusing. But in retrospect, it was not confusing because yes, dealing with money deals with risk, but I do not use the word luck because there are things in life that are predestined for you and predestined for me. So, what are some of the things that we're dealing with in chapter 2? And when I talk about predestined, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. When I talk about predestined, um, if I win the lottery, there's a there is there's a statistical chance of me winning or losing the lottery. It's a mathematical scenario where I may win the lotto out of a billion and this, that, and the other. My chances of winning that plays into statistics, and at times it plays into destiny also. Let's look at the book. Let's look at chapter 2. Um, we look at chapter 2, and it centers on Bill Gates and his friend Paul Allen, who created Microsoft and the computer generation today, the computer generation that we have today. And because there was a gentleman that worked, he was a superintendent um, or an administrator in the school, and his name was Bill Dougal. And Mr. Dougal past was that he was a World War II pilot, and he worked in the schools after the war was over, and he had an opportunity. The school was called Lakeside High School, and it was on the outskirts of Seattle, Washington. So Mr. Dougal wanted his school to get a computer or computers because he believed that I'm sorry. He believed that um, learning outside of the realm of school books was pertinent. Children needed a different type of learning to enhance their knowledge and their capabilities. So Mr. Dougal was able to acquire, I believe they were called line computers. I'm not sure. Probably in computer speak, probably they made probably they bought like 10 computers and they made like a LAN configuration um, where the computers were on a local area network, and they were able to do, basic programming, so on and so forth. So the our bright students, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, um, diverge themselves in this computer programming and learn how to initiate computers. And Mr. Allen had said to Mr. Gates, do you think we'll be successful in this venture?" And Gates had given an area of approval, saying that um, we can create our own company and make our own fortune, learning these things in computers. Now, uh, was this actually luck? Um, it was Mr. Dougal performed the risk, bringing in the computers. The risk that Mr. Dougal performed was the risk that Mr. Dougal performed was either the experiment succeeded or failed. So we don't know the probability. Now you have the two students, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, studying computers, and they made their fortunes. There was another young man that joined with Bill Gates and Paul Allen. His name was Kent Evans. And Mr. Evans unfortunately died before seeing Bill Gates and Paul Allen's vision of creating Microsoft. Now, we know that Bill Gates and Paul Allen became super millionaires and billionaires in itself. But was it really luck? No. In my opinion, Mr. Dougal had connections. He knew the right people to call. He knew what to do and what to say, and he probably knew how to outbid the other schools for computer equipment. Mr. Dougal was probably Mr. Dougal's school was probably in the suburbs, where students are given better chances and better opportunities to enhance their learning capabilities. In New York, where I'm from, the inner cities and the inner cities the inner cities never when I was a child never had the opportunities of getting good equipment. We were given secondhand and third hand generation equipment. So if we had a Bill Dougal working, I believe, in my opinion, if we had a Bill Dougal working in New York, in Harlem, for example, and tried to acquire these computers, I believe he would not have been able to acquire these computers because of the location, because of the administration and the red tape, and and also yes, you could have had computer scientists. I believe the same way, if Dougal was able to bring in computers into the inner city, you may have had a few students interested in computers and were able to become astronauts, scientists, and mathematical teachers and professors. Um, I don't believe luck had anything to do with this. I believe, like in real estate, it's location, location, location. So the location that you chooses brings about the probability of success or failure. So I refute Mr. Housel's analogy on luck involved. With risk, it paid off. The two students were able to become billionaires. With computers, people have become professors and scientists and mathematicians. So it's the propensity of the school also to have this agenda of pushing this education and propelling the students for success. That's the risk, either success or failure. So 50% of Mr. Housel's editorial, I disagree with. I believe in risk, and just like you can invest in stocks, or just like you can invest in gold, there is a risk of success or failure. But as a good friend told me, they have to research and they have to analyze the market to see if success or failure is going to come about. Um, later on later on in the in the chapter two, concerning luck and risk, Vanderbilt, they talk about Vanderbilt building the railroads, and Vanderbilt credited his success to breaking the rules, and so did Rockefeller also with some of his ventures. But what happens when we break the rules? We shortcut things and we circumvent certain obstacles that are in our way. But later on, we discovered that these obstacles are necessary in order to have success and in order that things don't go awry. Take a look at this. You may not, some of my viewers may not know what this is, but this is a burning building. This was a movie called The Towering Inferno, made in 1974. And the premise of the movie was that the millionaire that created this building was the tallest building allegedly in Los Angeles at that time in 1974. So the owner of the building, what he did was he wanted his revenue. He had moved in the tenants in the building. He had moved in the businesses and the stores in the building. And what he did was to get this building up, he circumvented he circumvented certain procedures in electrical wiring and other things that other things that would other things that would delay him opening up the building to acquire revenue. So what happened was he circumvented things, and this is a fictional movie here. He circumvented things, and he caused the death of hundreds of people in this movie. And I believe he went to jail. Also, the character in the movie went to jail for circumventing certain building codes and many other things. That it's a lesson. It's a lesson in greed. It's a lesson in following procedures and rules and regulations. Um, when Vanderbilt and well, and Rockefeller also. But let me stick with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, what he did was he committed. Oh goodness. I forgot when you buy out. He bought out all the other. He destroyed all the other railroad companies in order for his company to succeed. I forgot the word right now. I'll probably remember it when I turn off this video. But many companies, many railroad companies suffered because of Rockefeller and his greed, just like the gentleman in Towering Inferno created created these types of barriers for other companies as well. So, what is the lesson? Oh, and when years ago when I went to real estate school in New Jersey, I was talking to the teacher, and our next lesson was going to be on ethics. And she turned around and she said, "I hate teaching ethics." Wow, isn't that strange? Um, she taught real estate, and she was also a broker. And from my estimation, she was able to accumulate a good deal of revenue. Now, you turn around in the same sentence and you say that you hate ethics. And why is that? Because you don't follow the rules. You are more interested in acquiring revenue than you are in following procedures and making your revenue. So that has nothing to do with luck either. Luck in the examples that I brought up with Mr. Dougal and the Lakeside High School acquiring the computer, Vanderbilt um, creating a hostile environment for the other railroad competitors, and the teacher in school teaching real estate saying that she didn't like ethics. That means that when she did, in my estimation, I'm not saying that she did, but that means in my estimation, she threw out certain rules when she was doing her real estate ventures to acquire revenue and income. So when we look at creating money, we have to look at what determines it's determined through intelligence. It's determined through destiny. Also, it's determined through connections. It's and concerned with risk. Also, the probability of success or failure. So hopefully I was able to articulate this chapter, and that's about it. And my phone is ringing, so I will stop the recording. Thank you.